Yeah, well, I mean, if I may just jump in here real quick, like you know how Yale has a school in Singapore, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
And I believe what's the Princeton also has one, I believe, right?
I
Something.
know Yale does and
y-
US,
mhm,
but that's about it.
uh-huh.
You
I,
applied to Yale.
I, me personally?
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I think I applied to NUS because you click the checkbox, but then I don't think I ever like submitted any of the forms, so they
Yeah.
like immediately like said no
Mhm,
because I
yeah.
didn't bother sending the forms. So I was like, I don't know if I want to go
Mhm,
to Singapore for 4 years.
yeah.
You know,
Fair.
it's probably a great country, but it's just like maybe a little too far.
Right. But I mean, and I think Shanghai is actually also being invited to either Harvard or Princeton or one of the other big names. Like they're also trying to build a campus at Harvard.
Duke has a campus in
Uh,
China, but I don't know specifically where.
It might be Shanghai as well, but I mean, the idea is the same. Like, why are we spend? Well, why are these colleges spending investment? I understand like to increase the breadth, global breadth, and all
Yeah.
that, but like, what's stopping Harvard, for instance, from building a remote campus in Arkansas, right?
Ooh, I have the best answer for you.
Uh huh.
It's the history. Like, come on, like I get like I'm all about these conversations, but you texted me, David, the second you were on campus, and you were like, "It's so stunning here," and it's
Mhm.
not stunning because it's a new fancy campus like Stanford. It's stunning because it has such a rich history, like good and bad, a lot of bad, but a rich history, and like all these buildings are so historical, like they've been here for forever, and like you can just tell the stories by just looking at the wall, like or even like not even like recent history too. For example, like I know this kid in my entryway who's staying in Mark Zuckerberg's freshman dorm. That's insane to me, and that's like an appeal to Harvard that you can't get, like Harvard Cambridge campus that you can't get in Arkansas. Like
And I guess like for a lot of the international ones, is the problem is like I know that the NUS campus, which is Yale's, it's like National University of Singapore. Like
mhm.
there are complaints that it's not the same experience because it's abroad, and also because NUS has a lot of influence and changes a lot of things. And so I think maybe domestically, like having I guess an off campus, you wouldn't run across those same issues. But like I still think that like there is something to say like of like having it in one spot, and especially one that's very historic. Like we were saying like Mark Zuckerberg's room, and like there's all of like this history surrounding it.
Or like the professors, like Cornell West versus like Steven Pinker. What if they were in like different campuses? Like Cornell West was hanging out in Arkansas, and Steven Pinker was at Cambridge. Like I want to be able to talk to them both. I don't want to have to pick and choose which campus I go to.
I guess that is true. I guess we technically have an off campus in Alston, but that's not like that far away. So like you
Mhm,
still have that, like you were saying, like I can talk to both.
Yeah.
There's
mhm.
that connection.
Yeah, but again, the issue I'm trying to, I guess, kind of explore here is how can we scale the resources that we say that Harvard so provides us, right? I mean,
Mhm.
ultimately, at the end of the day, 1,800 of us were afforded the exclusive privileges of being able to talk to Cornell West, or at least being able to relate to him, being able to sit in
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg's dorm.
Yeah.
And the issue with the argument with history, I think, is it's true. Obviously, I love the history. I mean, the campus is freaking beautiful, like I told Anna. But the problem with history is that it is a limited resource. What happened happened, and therefore it cannot be perpetuated as a resource. You can only split up history so many times because it is there. There's a pool of history at Harvard that is
Hmm.
finite, and you can only split it however many times to experiences. And ultimately, right, it's like for instance that Arkansas campus, right? The idea is to get more people to be able to be able to access the resources that were provided. And I understand, oh, but then that 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 degrades the value of the Harvard degree and that credentialism and all that. But again, it's like that perpetuity, right? We perpetuate the exclusivity with the credentialism, and the credentialism perpetuates the exclusivity. Um,
Hmm.
I argue these things, but I feel like a hypocrite because again,
Yeah.
like I was attracted to Harvard because of its exclusivity.
I
But then
guess I
that,
have a
but then,
question though.
mhm,
Like, how many of these resources are exclusive to Harvard? Like, yes, the professors work here and teach, and we do have access to them, but that's not all they do. Like, they still will tour. They still speak at other things. Now that like they're online, like they probably guest lecture more often. Like I within my classes, like we're getting guest lectures from other universities, so I wouldn't see why, we like how much of the resources are tied to like just being
Oh,
a Harvard
like
student.
we can't speak to that a ton because
Yeah,
we don't live near there.
call in.
We call in like everyone else, but next year hopefully.
Mhm.
Totally.
I think it's completely different. Being able to
I
like
guess
go to an office hours at Cornell West. Like I'm sorry, like I'm looking forward to doing that. I don't care what class is teaching. I will be at his office hours
Mhm.
definitively.
Yeah.
So like I think it's those resources. And besides that, it's just like the Harvard name carries so much weight. Like
Mhm.
email people like using your personal email versus your Harvard email, insane difference. How
Mhm.
quickly they respond and what they say to you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and to add on a little to my previous point here, there's a reason why Harvard charged full tuition for those doing online, right?
Mhm.
There's a reason why that the price didn't change is because I think, and this was pointed out by a few people already, but again, it's I would say it's still world class education, right? You have amazing professors. In fact, I mean, I recently took my Xbox 20 class today, second day, and the professor's just amazing, right? I mean, obviously compared to high school teachers, even though I don't get me wrong, I love them, it's just a whole new stratosphere,
It's
right?
different. Like
Um,
a Pulitzer Prize winner is like the professor of my seminar. Like Professor
Yeah.
Greenblatt, like I was like taken back. I was like, whoa, this man won a Pulitzer. I'm not here like no, I can't
mhm,
write like a sentence.
Yeah.
right, and
I
these
guess
are
I
one of
will add
the
that w-
mhm,
while the tuition was not decreased, I know some schools did. Like a lot of people, like their aid was increased. In my instance, it was, and like there was that petition process because there is that sort of resources and funding available. Thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, and to speak a little bit on the Pulitzer Prize, like Nobel Prize winning things, it's just like an ethical dilemma, right? Because obviously these are finite resources, finite people to talk to, and it's just like one of those things that doesn't have a right answer.
Mhm.
How can we give everyone, and that's what I say. That's my firm belief with education. I think so many kids in school may not have like that SAT score or those extracurriculars that put them on that radar of elite colleges, but to have those facilities, right? Or at least at one point had those facilities, but may have been wasted in certain situations. How do we grant those kids the same opportunities or same second chances even,
Yeah.
right? And this may seem a little bit too like welfare-y in terms of an education, but perhaps that is the move. But again, there's hardly a right answer. And I think that the reason why I love podcasting is that we do expose these discussions
Yeah.
with
I feel
without
like a
with
lot of that, like, you just would have to solve earlier. Like the disparities exist before high school. Before all of that, like, and like before college admissions. And so I think it's like it would have to start like, right from the start. Kindergarten and up.
yeah, yeah, for sure.